Hello folks, I hope that you are having just one of your best days that you've ever had in your entire life. Today we're going to be taking a look at Book 3 of Journey to the West. It's one of the classic novels in China of all time. It's considered one of the 4 great classic novels on Journey to the West, Outlaws of the Marsh, and others. I have read Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is one of them before, and I really enjoyed it. And so this one was on my bucket list. I wanted to read it before I finished. It's more than 2,200 pages and 100 chapters in 4 volumes after being translated to English from the Chinese. So this, I've just finished chapter 75 last night. So I wanted to go ahead and think about it for a day and then give you my review of the 3rd book of the Journey to the West, the epic journey. Now, this book is basically what I've been telling people as I've been reading it, is that Journey to the West is the Odyssey of China. By that, what I mean is that it's a journey story. Odyssey is journeying from one point A to point B, and then realizing when you get back, get to point B, that things have changed in ways that you can't unpack during your time. You're never going to be able to go back to the innocent age that you left behind, if you will. And Journey to the West so far is very similar. It's a journey to the West by this monk and his 3 disciples that all 3 have various powers: monkey, pig, and friar Sand, and our main monk Sanzang. And they're all Buddhists. His three folks that are escorting him from China to the Western Heaven, which is an epic journey that takes years. There will be chapters that will start off by saying fall ebbed into spring and then spring into summer. And the months were long in summer when they came across their next encounter. So this is definitely a longer journey. It's got this sort of an epic or mythic feel, much like the journey of the Odyssey. They also have some bizarre things that will happen to them that feel kind of these sort of an old classic Odyssey sort of stories. For example, in the 3rd book, there is an encounter with a nation of only women that our 4 men run into. And the obvious question is, how does that nation perpetuate itself? After all, there's no men there. And there is a river that if you drink from the waters there, you will get pregnant. So anybody can drink from it. And then there is a spring called the miscarriage spring, which if you drink from it, you will abort your pregnancy. So if you drink from the river and you don't decide later on you don't want your birth, you can drink from the spring and thus end your pregnancy. And this is in particular really interesting because what's going to wind up happening is that, of course, 2 of our monks are going to drink water from the river just because they're thirsty, without realizing it, and surprise, they're going to become pregnant. And that's sort of a bizarre, a nation without men, Yeah, you got a river that you can drink from to get pregnant. Men can get pregnant too if they drink from it. And having a spring that you can drink from that will end your pregnancy. This stuff feels very Greek to me, if you will. And so again, this is I think probably the best example that I can come up with to this comparison. This is also hugely influential. You find the main characters, particularly Monkey, the great sage equaling heaven, the Monkey King, the Stone Monkey, in a lot of places, from video games to board games to novels and television shows. You'll also find a lot of sub-media about movies called Journey to the West and the other things, going over the things. Now, by chapter 75, they still seem to be pretty far from the Western Heaven. So even though you're 3/4 of the way through, you still haven't reached the journey point yet, and years have passed. And so it is important to point that out. I don't know when they will reach it. And unlike the Odyssey, where you reach home earlier in the story and then things will happen to see how home has changed, I don't know that will be the case. That might not ultimately be the point of Journey to the West. We'll just find out when we finish the story in another 25 pages. I'm sorry, another 25 chapters. It's a whole book. It's hundreds of pages. I'm reading this at the pace of roughly 2 chapters a day, which is about an hour. Sometimes the chapters are about 25 minutes, and so it might finish me in like 50 minutes or 55 minutes. And then sometimes it might be more like an hour and 5 minutes or 10 minutes because it's a little bit longer of a read chapter here and there. Occasionally, I'll get into it and I'll really knock out 3 chapters in a night, and I've done it a few times here and there. If the first chapter winds up being less than 20 minutes, then I'll be like, yeah, it's only 17 minutes long, so I'll knock out another 2 chapters tonight. And I really enjoy it. So I try to be organic with it, but the plan was to finish it in 50 days. And I started it before Memorial Day, and now I've just finished chapter 75 last night, so I got 25 episodes to go. And so we're just continuing, just knocking this out. And so my goal is to knock this out in a couple of weeks for you, a little less than a couple of weeks for you, 12 and a half days. And if I get it in 10 because of a few 3 chapter days, I'll be pretty happy with it. And then there you are. That is Journey to the West. I'll leave you to it. Have you read it? If so, what'd you think of it? I would be more than happy to engage you with it further in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please feel encouraged to hit that subscribe button, because there's going to be a lot more of these to follow in fantasy, science fiction, and horror. And then finally, hey, I just want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it in my videos. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives in this social media age. So the fact that you spend this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have a great day.